The activity that we're going to do today is called Mind in a Jar, because our mind is actually a little bit like this snow globe. So what we find is when we get shaken up, when we're agitated, when we're stressed or when we're busy, okay, everything gets a bit shaken up inside. So our thoughts and emotions and the things going on in our mind become very, very busy. And sometimes we can't see clearly. We can't figure our way out of a problem. And things become a little bit difficult. But what we find is that if we pause and if we stop and be still, and if we connect with our breath, and slow down, what we find is eventually everything settles so that we're able to see again a little bit more clearly and see how to move forward, a bit like Father Christmas in the snow globe. But we don't all have a snow globe like this one. So today we're going to make our own using a jar. So to begin this activity, you're going to need a jar, and the best ones are the ones that have these metal tight fitting lids on top. So I've got this one that we've just finished that had some jam in. This one is probably the ideal size, something maybe that's had sauce in and has that really secure tight lid. But I haven't got any empty ones at the moment. And I'm going to use this one because it's nice and large so that you can see it clearly. And what we're going to do to begin with is to have a think about what is in our mind. So we have lots of things whirling around all the time. We have our thoughts, our emotions, memories, dreams, all of those things. So we're going to use something special to represent all of those things. The next thing we're going to need for our mind in a jar is some glitter. Now I've got these little pots of glitter. They're really light, so they swirl around nicely. I got these from Asda, but you can use any glitter or anything really that can float around a little bit like the fake snow in the snow globe. But what's really important is if you've got different colours, and you don't have to, as you put the glitter in, what I want you to do is have a little think about what are you putting in, what things go on in your mind. So I'm putting silver in. This could be my thoughts, my dreams, my memories. It could be my hopes for the future, okay? I might put some green in, and maybe this could be some of my emotions. So I might put, I don't know, some fear in here, or it might be joy, it might be enthusiasm, it might be love, okay? And then we can put some red in, and that could mean maybe some angry thoughts, like or emotions like annoyance, or it could stand for our passion, the things that we love to do, the things that we love, like our pets and our family and our friends. So whatever we put in, we can reflect and have a think on what those mean to us. So I like to think about putting in some skills, some of my talents maybe. You might put in that you're good at English or maths or sport or absolutely anything, being a good friend, whatever it is. So as you sprinkle in the glitter, just really having a think about what goes on in your mind each day. So now that we've put in all of our thoughts and emotions represented by the glitter, we've got to realise that none of those are right or wrong. They're just thoughts, they're just emotions, they happen to everybody. It's what makes us human. But sometimes they can get a bit stuck and they can whiz around. And sometimes we have things like worries where we just can't seem to move on from them. So in our mind in a jar, what we're going to use is some fairy liquid or some washing up liquid, any will do. And we're going to add just a little bit of this, because what this does is when we make our mind in a jar, it stops the glitter or the emotions and the thoughts from sticking together. And it keeps them free and moving around so they don't all get clumped together. So in life sometimes we need something like this to help us to get things unstuck. That might be talking to somebody, talking to a trusted adult. It might be writing things down if we find them difficult. But yeah, so our washing up liquid, it stops everything in our mind getting in our mind jar from getting stuck together. So the next thing we're going to do with our mind in a jar, you're going to need help from an adult. So you definitely need help, because what we're going to use is glycerol. It's cough medicine. Actually, what it is sugary liquid, but we still need an adult to help us with this because it is a medicine. Now, what this does in the jar is it actually slows everything down. So when we put it in, and when we've added our water at the end, it's going to slow down the glitter so it doesn't move crazily around. And we can see that it moves and it gets busy, but actually it starts to slow down a little bit when we stop the snow globe. And what that helps us to understand really is that we do sometimes need to slow down. We need to take our time if things are difficult, and that can help us to settle and to calm and to really see a problem more clearly. And we often again need adults to help us to do this, or a good friend. But slowing down and taking our time with a problem is definitely a good idea. So the next thing we're going to do, now we've got all of our glitter, I'll just put a few more shakes in there just to be on the safe side, is we're going to add the water to our jar. Now we don't want to really overfill it. I usually think about 2/3 or 3/4 of the jar. Now I'm going to pour this in very slowly, and what we'll see is hopefully everything will start to mix together nicely in the jar, and it's that nice yellow colour. Okay, that colour comes from the cough mixture or the sugary water. So it's about 2/3 full. Now this is why you really need a metal lid, because once that goes on really securely and tightly, then the water won't spill out. I'm going to just press my lid down like this, okay, and make sure everything's nice and secure there. Lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate my jar, and you can use absolutely anything for this. Funky tapes or pattern tapes are sometimes nice to wrap around. I'm going to use some glittery string, okay, and I'm also going to use some stickers, so you can use any stickers, use any labels, okay. And I've put on here pause and breathe as a reminder, or be still and settle down. So I'm going to put them on there, but you can put absolutely anything, and some of the children I've worked with have put things like be still and keep calm, or keep calm and carry on, all different messages really, just to remind them that this is a tool that can help them to be calm and to settle their mind. So we can see that I've got my decorations on there, but I can still see into the jar, which is really important. If you've got something on the top of your jar, you might want to put stickers over it, or maybe colour it in with a Sharpie or something like that. Make it beautiful. So now that our mind in a jar is complete, we can start to use it. So when we're feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe stressed, then this is something that can help us. It's a tool that we can use. Everybody gets stress. Stress is okay. It helps us to get ready for things. It helps us to get our body and our mind ready sometimes for our learning or for sport. But if it overwhelms us or it becomes too much, then we need to take steps to look after ourselves, to look after our mind and calm ourselves down. So what we can do is we can give the jar a twirl like this, and just like the snow globe, we can see it gets very busy. Everything gets quite foggy and cloudy, just like it would in our mind. We can't really see clearly when things get too busy and get too much. Okay, but what we can do is we can start to teach ourselves to settle. Okay, so like the jar, we can become still. Okay, we can mindfully connect with our breath. Try breathing down into our belly if we can. But just watch everything settle, everything slow down, everything start to become still. Just breathing. Allowing everything to slow down. And the time it takes for everything in the jar to become still and to stop is probably about the same amount of time that our body needs to calm and to settle as we breathe. And then hopefully, just as the jar becomes a bit clearer, our mind will also become a little bit clearer. Another time that we can use our mind in a jar is at night. When we lie down and stop for the first time in the day, that's sometimes when our worries can come up in our mind. Things that have gone a bit wrong in the day, or things that we might be a bit worried about doing the day after. So how our mind in a jar can help us is as we lie down and become still, okay, we can use it again, and this time we can think that the glitter is a bit like our worries. So this time, as we settle down and as we settle down our jar, we can see those worries moving around, just like the glitter. And we don't have to ignore them or push them away or get angry. We can just notice those worries, and we can say, thank you for trying to look after me, but I'm okay for now. This isn't the time to deal with those worries and problems. Again, connecting with our breath. And as we lie in our bed, we can breathe into our belly if we can, or wherever feels comfortable. And this time, as we breathe out, we can let everything relax and sink down to the bottom, just like the glitter in the jar. So breathing into our belly, breathing out and letting go, letting everything sink down. Feeling the weight of your body in the bed and relaxing down for a good night's sleep.